Hey there, gang. Welcome back to Papa's Model Workshop. I'm Papa. This is my workshop. So today I'm going to do that video on how I did the weathering on the underside of the Del Rey. Again, I think I've mentioned this in the video before this one, that it's a relatively simple procedure, at least the way I did it. I mean, you can get very, very complicated with weathering and use a whole lot of different techniques and products and so on and so forth. But what I did with that Del Rey, I kept it very simple, and I think it came out pretty good. So I'll tell you what, well, let me do a little bit of housekeeping here first. Hold on one second. And I've got a request here from 337 Foxfire. He wants me to do a video on how I do my preparation for a new build. I guess he's referring to my routine of when I finish up a given build, how do I then clean up from that build and reset for the next build. I'm guessing that's what he means by that. So, yep, absolutely. I can shoot a video for you on that. I've actually kind of touched on that in the past, but I can absolutely do that for you. And I do have some things that I do in preparation for a new build. And he wants me to go over wet sanding. So I will do that in that same video. I'm not exactly positive as to when I will get that, as I have a few things in the pipeline already, but I will get to it. The shop tour that I just gave a few videos back actually was in response to a request that was sent to me. I guess it was about, I don't know, a month, maybe 2 months ago. I think it was Max Utton who sent me that request. So it took me a little while, but I did get to that video, and I will get to this one. So, and another one from Foxfire. Is also, oh, do I use decals? Yeah, I do. I use decals, but I don't use a whole lot of them. I don't know. It's just my personal opinion, but I kind of like the build and the paint to stand on its own. I like to have that on display rather than just a whole bunch of decals covering it up. That's just me. That's just my personal opinion. But I do use decals, but when I do use them, I kind of use it sparingly, just where I think it's necessary. And he also wanted to know, what steps do I take in doing decals? I know there's a lot of decal solutions out there. Microsol, Markset, I think it's called Markset, or Markset, I think it's called. I just use water. That's all I do. I keep it simple. I do even have special scissors for cutting the decals out, but I rarely use them. I just take my decal sheet and I use my X-Acto knife and I cut them out, and I just simply use water. What I'll do a lot of times is on the surface. Let me see if I can get this out of here. I'll show you quick. Hang on one second. Okay. There's no decals on this car, but for example, if I were to put decals on this car, what I would do is I would take a Q-tip and I would just run some water right along the surface where I was going to apply the decal, and then I simply let the decal soak in some water for, I don't know, 2 minutes, maybe, perhaps 3. It depends. It really depends on the decal. Some decals I've let sit in water for 5 minutes or more before they're ready to be used. Other decals, it's much less time. So it greatly depends on the individual decal. And then I just slide it off and put it on the surface. Okay. And I can demonstrate that for you in a future video. All right, so let me put my Mercedes back. What else have we got here? David Parsley. Thank you for the shout out. And I think I showed David's card a little while ago. He does emergency vehicles. And he just gave me a very nice shout out on his channel. So thank you very much for that. Go and check him out on YouTube. Very good guy, very good model builder. Okay, you'll be happy you checked him out. What else do I have here? Oh, I recently posted a picture of Karen down here in the workshop. On Saturdays, I've got a crowd down here sometimes on Saturdays. I've got the grandchildren down here, the dogs are down here. Karen comes down and hangs out. And anyway, so Karen was down here, and I took a picture of her sitting in my shop chair, and I posted that on my Facebook page. And a lot of people responded saying, that she looks better than me. Yes, I know that she sure does. And James Downing said she should be on Mama's model workshop. We'll see if we can get Karen to come on the video, and who knows? Maybe if she becomes a sensation, we'll change it to Mama's model workshop. Who knows? Okay, so I guess that's about it for right now. And of course, let me mention Gallery. Okay. If you want to get any gallery products, airbrushes, equipment, supplies, or their Kaleido paints, that includes primers, varnish, any of that, okay, you will get 10% off if you go to their site, and at checkout, you put in my discount code PPMW, okay, 10% off the entire deal. Okay, very good deal. If you are a content creator and you want to swap shop cards, there is my mailing address. All right. And if you are a follower of the channel, there is my email address if you would like a shop card. Okay. So that takes care of that. Now, I think we can go back into the workshop, and let's get started on that weathering video that got deleted about a week ago. And I'll show you how I have the USAC 69 Camaro is all prepped. I'll show you that. So I'll meet you back there, okay? Okay, guys, we're back here at the paint bench, and just, a reminder, if you haven't seen the other videos, this is my USAC build 69 Camaro, excuse me, and that's a Revel. Some people don't like the way I say Revel or Revel. Anyway, that's the kit manufacturer right there, and this is in 1/25th scale. All right, and typically what I do is I will write down the start date, all right, and eventually the completion date when I get this done. I put that right on top, and I usually save my instructions. A lot of people ask me if I do, and yes, I do, in fact, save my instructions. In fact, I save the whole box. I save, all of this. So here is my way of getting started with a kit. I separate all of the parts from the sprue, and I categorize them by color. Okay, there we go. I put a little bit of tape on there, and I will put down the number as it corresponds to the color chart in the instructions, and then I just separate everything and put them in according to color. Now, the only other thing that I do outside of that is I will separate the engine, okay, and I will put all the engine parts in their own separate container. So that's, just my routine. And for this build, I will be using Kaleido paints, and as you know from the vote that just took place, okay, you voted on the silver, purple, and blue, so I will be using those colors for the build. This is here we go. This is the Kaleido silver. It's a metal color, all right, so we'll be going with that. The Kaleido Twilight Purple. I actually saw this color for the very first time on Grandpa Mark's channel, and I fell in love with this color. So I'm anxious to use that. And we will be going with the liquid blue. The liquid blue is what I use for the interior of the Del Rey. The exterior of the Del Rey, all right, this is Rally Sport Blue. And this blue and white color was also selected by all of you. You voted on the colors for this, and that's how it came out. But inside, I don't know if you can see that, but the interior is the liquid blue that I just held up. Okay, so that's the three colors I will be using, at least for the exterior. There will be more colors, as you saw when I just held up my organizer containers. There's quite a number of colors, but for the exterior colors, these are the three. The car is already primed. I primed the body in Kaleido Black. All right, and the rest of the parts were primed in Kaleido White Primer. All right, and I will show you that in one set. Here we go. I got it right here. All right, and there it is, primed in the Kaleido Black. All right, and then we will shoot the silver, purple, and blue on this body. Okay, and of course, the hood is done in the same black color. All right, so that is the USAC build. So let me set up for our weathering video. Hang on. Okay, so I have the Del Rey right here, and this is the one that I did the weathering on. Okay, and you can see that I have different areas that look like it's a little rusty and so forth. All right, and down here on the mufflers again, I killed that shine, and I put a little bit of blue carbon scorch on here, right? Because sometimes these areas, they get really hot. You get that blue carbon burn on there. So I have just a little bit on there, okay? Even the tires, and I'll show you that in a little bit also. But I even scuff up the tires to make them look like they're used and so forth. Let me see, I think I've got a tire right here. All right, here is a relatively new tire. See the difference? How shiny this one is versus this tire on the Del Rey. All right, and I just scuffed that up using a sanding stick. I think I used 180 for that. Okay, so yeah, and down here you can see where I have some of that patina, as it's called, or weathering, that little bit of orangey rust color. Okay, see. Okay, and again, scuffed up the tires. This was relatively easy. Now let's take a look at this. Okay, can you see the difference? Okay, this is an old Corvette that I set aside for some reason. I don't know why I set this aside, but anyway, yeah, it's falling apart. It's been sitting back there for a long time. I have to get back to this one of these days. But anyway, there is no patina or weathering on this, and you can see the difference. All right. So what we'll do is I will weather this to give you a demonstration. Okay. And of course, back here, a lot of folks have been asking me about the Peterbilt Wrecker. Yes, here it is. And let me get these things out of the way. There we go. Okay. And I kind of mocked this up. This is just, mocked up with a little bit of tape and so forth. But, here it is. And I circle back and do some work on this occasionally. But more importantly, you can see that, I have, quite a bit of rust and weathering on here, okay, on the engine and so forth. All right. And to me, okay, yeah, you can obviously see the rust and the weathering, but to me, I don't go overboard with it, okay? I keep it so that it's in the seams or the edges and so forth. I did some research on this, and it seems that you'll accumulate rust along edges and seams. Now, yes, I do have some here in the middle. Yes, you're going to get that. But by and large, I'm keeping a lot of it on the edges and the seams, okay, with the occasional rust mark in the center of a given surface. All right. So this is, like I said, the Peterbilt Wrecker, how I rusted that. And I gave that a little bit more rust and patina. Now, these are a couple of options for you. All right. These are AK products. These are, well, they're paints. And you can use those as a method of rust or weathering. And another kit that I have here, and I have not used this, so I can't give you any feedback on it. I've actually had this for quite a long time. This is made by Deluxe Materials, okay? And yeah, you can see the price right there, $18.99. I don't know where I got this. I probably got it at a retail store someplace, because if I got it online, that price tag would not be there. My best guess is I either got this at Hobby Lobby, or I may have actually gotten this at Bayshore Hobbies, which is a local hobby shop. And yeah, I got it from someplace. So that is another option. There are other options that you can do with regard to rust and patina. One is called chipping. And I'm not real versed in how to do that, so I'm not going to go down that path. And there's another one called the salt method, and again, I'm not real versed in that as well. The person to watch on YouTube, if you really want to get into weathering and so forth, is a guy by the name of Virgil Suarez. He is under the heading of Dr. Cranky, I think, on YouTube. He is the master at this sort of thing. So if you're really interested in learning about weathering a patina, check him out. I also have a little bit of weathering here. Can I get this thing open? There we go. Might be difficult to see this. I'm going to try to get this light down in here. But you can see I did some weathering in here too. All right. And, again, I've got it here and there. I haven't gone crazy with it. And inside the engine compartment, I don't know if you can see this or not, but what I did down in here, all right, can you see right down in here? Okay, it looks kind of like black oil or grease or whatever. That I actually used the panel liner. Hang on, where is that? I used Tamiya panel liner for oil or grease buildup. All right, that works nicely too. So, but basically what I used was the Tamiya weathering. Okay, that's all I really used on this car. So as I mentioned, there's a lot of other methods, a lot of other products. I kept it simple, and this is all that I used on this Del Rey. It looks like a lady's makeup compact, I think it's called. And it even has an applicator that looks like a thing that you would put makeup on with, okay, except we're putting on our compressed, I guess this is compressed powder. And this is it. That's all I used. All right, so hang on. Let's do a little bit of work. Okay, so here we have our blank canvas, all right? And took my little shot of coffee here, so I'm ready to go. Did you ever try that Nespresso coffee? That rich chocolate made in an espresso coffee maker? Boy, that stuff is great. So, okay, so here I said we have our little compact here. And I take the applicator, and I simply just rub it in, all right? And I just broke it, all right? Let's see if I can get that back on again here. Hang on. Okay, rather than play with that for the rest of the day trying to fit this thing back on, I just stole another one, okay, from another kit. So let's try that again. Basically, again, I just rub this in, all right? Nothing to that at all. Can you see how this kind of goes up to kind of a point? So occasionally what I'll do is if I want to get down into a specific area, I'll load some right on the point like that. Can you see that? And then I can go right in and I can use the point to get into, an area like this. See the bottom of the transmission there. I can get the get right in that little recessed area, right? And you see what I'm doing here? I'm just patting this. I'm just patting it. And basically, that's it. That's all I did on the Del Rey. What you just saw me do is all I did. Just reproduce what I did throughout. That's it. So, what I can suggest to you is, all right, I'm going to talk while I do this. What I'm going to suggest to you, see just that little bit right there. Just, it makes a difference. And I didn't do a whole lot to it, but look at the one here on this side, all right? And then look at this one that I just did. And you can see it's a tremendous difference already. And I really didn't do much of anything, all right? You can jump over and, put a little bit of the charcoal color. I'm using the one over here now, that darker charcoal color. I put a little bit of that on there, and I'll go in with that, and that'll kind of darken that up a little bit more. Okay. All right. And this is part of the exhaust, so that gets hot. All right, so maybe you want to put a little bit of that blue scorch in there. Okay, and I'll pat it in. All right, can you see that blue in there? And really, that's it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to this. Okay, I'll go over to this one on this side now. See, it's nice and shiny. I'm going over it with that darker charcoal gray color just to knock down that shine. Okay, and then I'll come in with a little bit of the rust color, right, and intermingle some of that rust in with that charcoal color, all right, to give it that rusty appearance. All right, I'll pat it. So, okay, can you see? All right. And you just kind of continue on going right around. All right. So what I will suggest to you is a couple of things. Okay. Number one, and I already mentioned this when I showed you the Peterbilt. Now, this is an exhaust system, so I'm kind of laying it on a bit heavy on the exhaust. But, for areas like this, okay, all right, in the undercarriage, okay, I'll try to stick to the edges. All right. See? Okay. And, I don't want to arbitrarily just put it all over the place. In my opinion, less is more. Okay. And what happens is you get in here with this thing and you start putting it on and, gee, it looks pretty good. And, that went on rather easily and you start getting comfortable with it. And then you overdo it sometimes and you start putting it all over the place. And I don't know. I guess that's subjective. I guess it's personal opinion as to what you want. Maybe it's an old junker that's been sitting in a swamp for the last 20 years. And in that case, maybe there is rust all over the place. So, this is what you have to kind of determine in your mind, what your car has been through. Maybe, you make up little stories. That's something that I like to do sometimes. I'll make up little stories. All right. Maybe this car belonged to, I don't know, a prospector who lives out in the desert or something like that, of Arizona or New Mexico, and he drives out in the desert, and maybe his underside is all caked up with dirt and sand and so forth, and goes plowing through, I don't know, little ponds or something like that, and it's all rusty. Okay, see, right? And what I'm doing is I'm actually pulling across. There's a little edge right there. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm using that edge to pull off what I have on here. Okay. And the other thing I'll suggest is Pause every once in a while. Now, for the purposes of demonstrating this on camera, I'm kind of moving along rather quickly. But when you're doing this at your work table or workbench, wherever it is, you've got all the time in the world. My suggestion would be to pause every once in a while. All right. You have to not only look, but you have to see. There's a difference. Okay. When you look, you're just looking at a glance and moving on. When you stop and see, that means you're taking the time to actually see what you've done, where you want to go, how you want things to ultimately look. That's seeing, taking into consideration what you're looking at, and then doing a little bit more, okay? Doing a little, okay? See? Stopping, looking, okay, seeing, and then progressing again, do a little bit more, stop again, look, see, consider, okay? That's just the way I do it. But look at how I have been able to kind of get that right in a line right along there. Can you see that? All right. Just using this little applicator, I was able to kind of make that little line there, all right? And that line actually is a little tiny ridge that's sticking up, and I use that to my advantage. I'm going over to the left side of that ridge and just pulling against it to make that little line, all right? And you may not even be aware of that line being there if you don't stop and see in addition to looking. Okay, let's jump over here. Let's get a little bit, well, no, actually, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go back to that dark charcoal color, okay? And let's kill this shine on here, okay? Right, you see how I've got just, a little bit. I'm not doing the whole thing. I've got some up here, then I've got a little bit down here, but I'm leaving openings as well, okay? The openings, it creates interest, okay? Rather than just coating this entire thing in that dark charcoal color. Now I'll come in with a little bit of rust, right? And I'll kind of intermingle a little bit of that rust in here, okay? There we go. Okay. Now I'll maybe put a little bit of that carbon, that blue carbon burn on here, okay? And again, I'm not going to town with this. I just basically did a little bit, whoops, let me flip this over. Basically did a little bit right up there, okay? And a little bit right down in there. If you want, you can diffuse that a little bit, because don't forget, we have a brush on this side, and you can come back in and just kind of tap it and diffuse it, all right? So this all goes to looking and seeing, all right? So I'll continue over here. Let's knock down some of that shine back here, all right? Okay. See how we can knock down that shine, all right? And really, this is it. I mean, this is all I did on the Del Rey. I just continued on in the exact way that I'm showing you so far, okay? So I think you have a pretty good idea of how I did the weathering on the Del Rey. I'm not going to do this entire thing because it's going to become monotonous, but I think I gave you an idea, all right? At least the way I do it, all right? If you are more adept, for example, at doing weathering, you might have a different methodology. You might be using more than just this, okay? And certainly there are a lot more products than just that, as I mentioned before. So you can certainly include that in the comments section. Maybe I'll learn something from you. But in answering a lot of the inquiries about the Del Rey, specifically about how I did the Del Rey, this is basically how I did it. Now I'll show you something else, okay? So let's go over here to this tire. Well, before we do that, let's do this. Hang on, let me pause the camera. Okay, I just wanted to grab a sanding stick. Now this is a 180, okay, sanding stick. And what I like to do, again, let's go back and let's try to make up little stories for what our guy or lady uses their car or truck for. Again, maybe this. Let's say it's a young lady, okay, that goes out prospecting, all right, and you see how nice and clean and shiny that tire is. And what I do is I just come in with the 180, right, and I'll just scuff that. I'll scuff that up. All right. Try to take away that shine. Okay. Make it look a little bit worn. See how I can make that look like it's a little bit worn instead of all nice and shiny and new? Hang on, let me get this here. Okay, see? Now this is how this tire looked just a minute ago. Okay, I don't know what that is. What is that? A piece of, I don't know what that is. Something stuck on there. But yeah, see how nice and shiny and new that tire looks? And then, your tires, they're out on the pavement and, maybe going through dirt, whatever. All right, they're not going to be this nice and shiny and pristine. So that's what I go with. I use the 180 to scuff that up. Now, having done that, you can come back to this same rust color. And in this case, if we're going to put it on the tire, it's going to go from being rust to mud. All right. And let's see if we can make this look a little muddy. All right. And we'll diffuse that a little bit. Okay. And see, you can make it look like it's gone through mud. All right. And you can put as much on there or as little as you want. Okay. It depends on the tint that you're looking for. All right. Maybe this person is out in the desert every minute of every day. Then you can make it look like that. All right. Or you can, be a little bit more subtle with it. See, I'm dusting that off, diffusing it. Okay. And you can make it less excessive. Okay. So that's just another option for your weathering kit. Okay. So, this is, as I mentioned, this is the blue, okay, burnt blue. It's called burnt red and oil stain. It's actually called oil stain. Okay, there are a lot of these. Let me see if I can lay this out for you in such a way that you'll be able to see this whole thing. I don't know if I can get all of this in frame or not, but I'm going to try. I'm sorry, I'm hitting the camera, and. Okay, you have a lot of choices here. Now, I'm not going to get all of this in frame. So this one is sand, light sand, and mud, right? And this one is yellow, gray, and green. Okay, just went with the colors there. Didn't necessarily name them anything like rust or anything like that. Snow, that's pretty cool. Soot, and rust. Okay, and this last one is titanium, light gunmetal, and copper. So you have a number of choices, and I'm sure that out of all of this that I just showed you, okay, I'm sure that there are more of these. I'm sure you can go on Amazon or your local hobby store, and you'll probably be able to find additional ones other than what I just showed you. And of course, there is a whole kit. And this kit contains, I'll show you quick. I'll show you this quick. I haven't used this yet, so I can't give you any real feedback on this. But this is, I think this is like a powder that's in there. Okay. And this one is a liquid, I think. Yeah. Oh, no, it says right there, powder. Okay. I know one of them is a liquid. This is the liquid. Okay. So this is the liquid. All right. This is the powder. And this is also a liquid. Okay. Well, it says binder on it. So, all right. And it gives you a little applicator. Okay. To kind of, get that on with. and a little measuring cup. So it looks to me, and again, I don't know this for sure. I haven't even read the instructions, but it looks to me like you would probably put the liquid in here, obviously, and perhaps even mix some of the powders in there, and you make a paste or something like that. So anyway, that's another option. Okay, Scenic Rust by Deluxe, and if you go and you do a little bit of homework, you will find that there's quite a lot of other products out there that you can use for weathering, or patina as it's called. All right, so I hope you found this video helpful. I'm running up on 36 minutes. I don't like running these so long, so I apologize for this lasting so long, but I think I was able to demonstrate this to a certain degree where I hope it was helpful for some of you. And, as usual, please, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, all right? That helps the channel. And if you're watching this on the Facebook side, please do the same thing. Jump over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button. You can hit the thumbs up, and if you don't like this demonstration, you can give me a thumbs down. Okay, free speech channel we run here, so let me know if you like it, you hate it, whatever. And in the meantime, I will see you in the next video.